Hello everyone. Last series of videos we talked about the Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation from the white perspective and exchange variation from the black perspective. So we're going to look at those same variations, right? Those three major lines that we discussed for white. We're going to look at how black deals with those so you can get a taste of uh, the ideas on both sides of the fence. Okay, we're not trying to be biased here. We want you to see that what the first plan we're going to be discussing, just like we did in the previous series, is when white goes with the plan of the classical plan of playing his pawn to b4 and b5, attacking the black king side, transforming the pawn base from b7 to c6. So this game right here is between Canadian Grandmaster Kevin Spraggett, who was rated 2550 at the time with the white pieces, and with the black pieces was Grandmaster Alexander Belyavsky, who was rated 2640 at the time. This took place in the Candidates Tournament in 1985. So fasten your seatbelts. This is a good game right here. So Spraggett opened up with the flexible c4. Likewise from Belyavsky, very flexible. This can transpose to anything at this point. Knight c3, d5. So now it's starting to clarify. d4, knight f6. Just know at the time that Belyavsky was one of the great exponents of the Queen's Gambit decline in the world at the time. All right. Spraggett goes in for the exchange. Bishop g5, bishop e7. Everything is normal here. e3. Castles. And now bishop d3. c6, queen c2, knight bd7, and knight f3. Okay, so this is like our classical line. There's no knight g, e2, f3, and so on. Rook e8. Now h3 by Spraggett. Knight f8. And now bishop f4. Bishop to d6, offering the trade of bishops. Bishop takes d6, queen takes d6. And we spoke about that too in the last series. Sometimes that bishop trade benefits white, especially when black goes on and weakens his king side by making a fiend kettle. Sometimes this move will get played after the exchange of bishops, and we saw in one of our games in particular by Gary Kasparov, the king side come under tremendous attack. I think it was Kasparov versus Nigel Short, where the king side came under tremendous attack without this bishop. So it often favors white, that exchange of the dark squared bishop. Castles. Okay, so here's our just normal setup. And now white is going to have this idea of rook a b1, and he wants to play b4, b5. And basically here, exchange here, moving the base of the pawn chain, right, with following Nimzovich's principles, attacking the pawn chain at its base. So this exchange moves the base of the pawn chain from b7, which is difficult to attack, to c6 after the exchange. Then you can see there's already the semi-open c file, and white can pile up on the c file with his heavy pieces and attack this weak pawn. Notice also the weakness then after this pawn is gone, especially, right, because b6 can't be played. So then this square becomes very weak, and white would love to exploit this square moves like knight a4 to knight c5, etc., just putting tremendous pressure on the black position. So it's a simple plan, very effective if black loses focus in the position. These squares are very important here. The e5, knight e5, and c5 square. Conversely, black, with this pawn chain pointing toward the king side, usually will affect the counterattack on that side of the board. This explains the next move. Knight e4. White continues with his plan. And now you can see the idea behind rook a b1 because this pawn is protected by the rook. Bishop f4. So here you can see kind of both sides just continuing along with their plans. All right, so it's kind of a matter of who's gonna get it in first. Knight a4 here. b5 was possible also, right? That's more straight to the point, right? Why not just make a clear move here? But perhaps he's thinking about this also, or perhaps not a one in the trade. So knight a4, rook a d8, and now b5, rook d6, b takes, and now rook takes. Okay, so this was the idea of bringing the rook over. So now white is faced with the dilemma, either not to go through with his plan or go through with his plan and allow the capture with the rook. Now this forces white to change up things a little bit, okay, because black not doesn't have the weakness on c6 anymore. All right, however, he has this isolated pawn here, so white switches his attack to that. So he I'm sorry, switches his attack away from the c6 pawn. But I had a Freudian slip there because my initial instinct was to play queen b3, which attacks this pawn immediately here. Okay, not only attacks this pawn, but it also attacks this pawn right here. However, since black is focused on the king side attack here, white must be very careful. So for example, bishop takes h3, g takes, and now queen d7. Protects this pawn, but also attacks here. Okay, and let's say queen takes b7 here, and black is gonna have a draw here by perpetual. Right after queen takes, then check, 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 check. So here, 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 and so on. Instead, Spraggett played a full-on defensive move here and just played queen d1. b6. This takes away the square for the knight. Knight e5. So there's the other outpost that I was telling you that was dangerous for black. Simply rook c7. Bishop b5. And now knight d7. Of course, rook ec8 was fine too. f3, kicking the knight out. So notice how, okay, plan A didn't work so good for white. So now he switches to plan B, which is this f3, e4 type scenario. Knight d6. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. And now rook e1. Rooks go over to the open C file. Knight b2. Knight wants to improve itself, and it's going to do this by going here and reinforcing this knight. The problem with that idea is that black always has f6. Bishop f5, hitting the rook. Knight bd3, and then f6. So that kind of kicks that knight out. So that knight has been evicted. Bishop g4, and simply b takes d3, queen takes d3, rook c3, and we see black has taken over an initiative. Queen a6, h5, driving back the knight. Very instructive play by Beliavsky. Pawn just falls into his lap. Queen takes a7. However, again, the initiative is very important. Rook f1. And now you can see Black's plan coming to fruition in this in the form of the kingside assault here. And so while Spraggett collects pawns, Beliavsky is just finishing off the attack here. Queen f4 check, king h1, knight g3, and now he's in dire straits here. Queen e3 and queen d1, and then now rook c1, just exploiting the whole idea of the fork. So if queen takes here, c1, then simply knight e2 check. And after rook c1, Kevin Spraggett resigned. So that was an instructive game, showing Black's response to the classical idea involving rook ab1 and b4-b5 from white. Okay, Black has to play very accurately, of course, but it's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those things whereby white can't just expect, to just have an easy, Spanish torture type position. Notice how Black brought his going to be to play down the e file and on the king side. Notice how Black's pieces are placed here. All right. At the same time, you're walking the fine tightrope. The thin line between attack and defense here. Beliavsky does that perfectly. I love this idea of swinging the rook over to the d file, and then he kind of shuts down White's idea there by taking with the rook, because it forces White. It forces White to switch plans, and when he switches plans, he kind of falls behind in his attack, because if you notice, Black's pieces are well placed already for a kingside assault, and this kind of puts Black in the lead here. Okay, and then Black just simply cuts off all the outposts, as you can see with f6, and then h5, and he just drives White back. Okay, so that is part one of Black's side of the argument. I'm going to show different variation on the next video, and show how, show Black's answer to that. And then I'll make one more video to deal with the queen side castling of White. And then after that, I'll show another video with just some miscellaneous ideas and, a few traps in there. And that should give you like a complete overview of the Queen's Gambit decline exchange variation from both sides. So it's a lot of information in there. But any questions, just put them below, or comments, whatever. I like hearing from you guys. Please support my channel. Click on the donation button, and also check the DVD/book links below for the openings presented in this video today, which is the Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. And I'll see you guys on the next video.